All right. Cool. So welcome everyone to May community meeting. Excited to talk through a bunch of stuff this week. This month actually have a lot of good updates. A lot of progress has been made, and there's a lot to come still. So excited to have today to talk through. I hear some aggressive typing, Brian.
Yeah, sorry.
Let's see. So as usual, we'll go through our standard agenda, talk update on reminder of core values, committee updates, financial numbers update, and then kind of our marketing and growth numbers update, and then open it up for any Q&A. As I like to say at the beginning, just remind us of the core values that we have set out for each other: transparency, safety, community, and action. I think we'll see a good representation of some of those things throughout today's.
I did last time, but I went by myself, and I bought myself like
some background noise.
a loaf of bread, and I just kind of like
I've definitely work. No, and we will talk through how those come up in some of the work that we've been doing, but always good to level set there. We also wanted to talk through just kind of level setting with how everybody's been feeling and some of the conversations that we've had over the past several weeks around this being still the middle of a now 15-month pandemic and a lot of significant work that's been going on and a lot of various reports of internet and Zoom improv burnout. We are not in a rush here at Highwire Improv. I want to make sure that people feel comfortable focusing on stability over speed of rolling things out, continuing to focus on partnership with different organizations and working with different groups. You'll see that highlighted in some of the updates that we have today. And then sort of call out this term that Joe Tyler used in a recent education committee meeting of complementarity. It feels like a real word. I'm pretty sure it is a real word. If it's not a real word, it should be, because I think there's a real value in taking this approach of figuring out what we are uniquely able to bring to the improv community and fitting in that component, complementing other organizations in the space, in connection with that partnership concept, and thinking about complementing rather than competing wherever we can. It's been really effective for us. Already in terms of finding a niche in terms of bringing unique workshops or bringing kind of a pretty open and accessible internet stage for folks across the country. And we want to take that mindset into some of the work that we're going to continue doing as we look to the future. So then getting into some of the committee updates, I'll talk through a couple of these and we'll pass around the mic as needed. There's lots to happen since last month. As we mentioned, we were moving forward with this kind of slim board approach designed to kind of put a minimal set of bylaws in place, as well as kind of a minimal board that allows us to focus on building additional organizational structures in the committees and potentially even another organizational structure that kind of holds the entire group accountable. That's obviously still a work in progress, but what establishing the board in this bylaws, which you can find on the website, we can send those out in links as needed, is it's let us file for our 501c3 application. So we're now in the official pending status for that. That was filed a few weeks ago. Great. As that allows us to begin doing things that we couldn't previously do in terms of taking donations with the promise of those being tax deductible, as well as our own activities that are relevant to the activities of the organization being exempt from income tax, which is great. Technically, I will point out that it's possible that the 501c3 application could be denied. That is uncommon. But can happen, and so we've written it up on the website accordingly that we are in the pending status, and we did not file for a acceleration or expedited application. So the guidance we have is somewhere between 3 and 6 months that we'll hear back from our friends in the federal government regarding that. Beyond that, there's a lot still to do, and there's going to be some upcoming emails and meetings to figure out how to do the board and committee combination as effectively as possible. One thing we'd like to do is write down a clearer decision structure about what the committees are doing versus what decisions are made by the board or made by a combination of the committees. We also want to set up a more rigorous and specific calendar of committee meetings, kind of going to the point before about moving along at a reasonable pace and not overextending ourselves, figuring out a way to have regular committee meetings, say monthly, but not start to burden a small group of people who are currently all volunteering their time with 10, 15 hours of meetings per week. It's just not sustainable, and it's not necessary for us to do that. And kind of the other side of that coin in terms of sharing the workload is to do continued outreach to grow our involvement in the committees, particularly as we add on to new committees for development, which is focused on donations, grants, et cetera, and space and facilities as we start to investigate looking at spaces to perform live improv in when that becomes possible and safe. So a lot here, and a lot of progress made in the last month or so on that. Brian, you want to talk through programming?
Sure. Yeah. So season 3 is live. We've had a good first week and a couple of days. More than 75 teams. The partnership with SDI, Socially Distant for the March Madness, brought us a lot of our new teams. That's been really great. So we've got some really new fun stuff coming up, and very excited about seeing what has happened so far. And one of the great things that's happened is the idea around seasons is happening exactly as we had hoped. We've had some people who have done a season or two and then they need a break, whether they kind of want to reimagine their show, or they have to just give their members some time off where there's some conflicts. Personal. We have one team that one of them's having surgery and they just need to be able to recover. So this allows them to take some time off and then be welcomed back in for a time that fits in with their schedule in season 4. So we're really excited about that. And we've got some great partnerships coming up. The Everybody Get In Here Festival, which the first one was back in March, and it is a collaboration this time between 12 organizations, I believe. Will from Lancaster Improv Players, who's one of the other groups, is on this call. And we will get a evening of programming. Everybody gets a part of the week, and our day will coincide with. It's a great international day. The morning is Improv Comedy Bangalore in India. The afternoon, U.S. time, is Glossop Improv in Scotland, and then we'll be taking over the evening. And so that'll give us an opportunity to. And a nice segue here to highlight our Black Joy Friday programming, which is continuing, because we'll just use that regular time slot as part of our Everybody Get In Here spot. But then we're also coming up with some other ideas to shoulder that program both before and after. That will be hopefully finalizing soon. The Black Joy Fridays, continue to go gangbusters, and we've added Better with Improv as a partner. That's Keith Williams down in Charlotte, who was already involved, but now he's helping program some of the nights. So that's fantastic. And we will be going dark on June 19th to support the Black Impact fundraiser that Devin McKay will be organizing. He had 2 super successful ones last year, and that is something that we think definitely needs to be supported. So we won't have programming that evening. There will be the afternoon show, which will be before that starts. So we're going to keep that afternoon one of the UK teams. Where Genevieve had asked last time about how much was live, how much was playback, what people were watching, and more than half our views are on people who watch after the fact. That's we kind of had an idea that it was something like that, but when Barry pulled the numbers, that was great. And as we continue to get shows edited and up, they are viewed. it's just a great opportunity for people to be able to come back and see something that they weren't able to catch. So we really believe that in the importance of having the full performance there for people to see in their own comfort, time wise or whenever. So that's something that's been great. Something that isn't on here is we did a show a week and a half ago on Sunday, May 2nd, 9 days ago, with City Lamps Playback Theater. City Lamps is an organization that had submitted for season 1, but playback is a little different than a typical improv show, and it kind of took us a while with finding the right time and also working around scheduling. And then they're based in India, so also based around or working around COVID issues. And playback is it's a private show. It's not recorded. It wasn't streamed. And they ask people to share stories, whether they are very innocuous stories or some stories that are fairly heavy, and then they play them back. And there are certain, different kinds of ways they're played back. Like one was the musician with the group played for 2 minutes while each of the performers wrote a poem about the story the person had just told, and then they each read their poem. And but some of them were also very silly ideas of doing improv, and it was just so nice. This was a charge show. It was $5, and the money was split between supporting them, and our half went into the anti-racism our anti-racism account. So we're looking at possibly doing something with them again. And if you were there, feel free to let us know what you thought about it, whether that's something that you would want to be involved with, or that you think we should be involved with again, because I was able to watch most of it. I had to jump out near the end, but it was just a very, very fun experience. So yeah, spreading those partnerships across the world are fantastic. And for those performers who are all in India, with one in Nepal, with what is going on over there right now, how horrible things are, it was great for them to have an escape for an hour and a half.
Awesome, great call out, Brian. Merch is here. Yeah. Brian, you want to talk through this, or I can cover
Yes.
part of it too?
No.
Yeah.
Merchandise is here. We have merch here. The first 2 items that are available are the 2 at the top, the t-shirt and the hoodie. If you go to highwireimprov.com/shop, it will give you a link to purchase them through Custom Ink. Custom Ink is a apparel organization that allows you to set up fundraising drives. So this is a very specific way of doing it, that we need to sell 100 combined of these items for the fundraiser to be successful. You can get one or the other. They are purchased on the Custom Ink website, so we don't have to handle fulfilling orders. This is working through them, but it is with a specific goal and a specific time frame. So it is set up for a month, and you can get these awesome items there. You can find out more. The t-shirts are $25, the hoodies are $35. And this is obviously to support efforts going forward, to look forward to in-person shows in the future, as well as support the efforts to keep things happening online. So we're really, really excited about this. Thank you to Genevieve, David Lustig, Kristen, Barry. I think that's about the group that has been working on this. The stickers you see on the bottom are coming. We're getting the final details together to have those available, but we will have stickers available. We'll have Highwire pins available, and the posters that are produced before each season will also be available. So those details are being finalized, but you can get your t-shirts and hoodies now. So we'll be posting that and spreading the word soon.
Awesome.
And by soon, I mean as soon as we're done this.
Yeah, like this is the announcement. It's going out now. Oh, nice. Thank you, John. Let's see. In terms of education, had some really good meetings with the education committee over the past month, continuing to really focus our current energy on providing a select number of unique workshops each month to to folks, really finding that, intermediate to experienced improvisers are the ones who are most apt right now to invest their time and money in online workshops. So we've got, the latest new offerings for June reflected here. We got our first one-day sellout of a workshop. David Escobedo's workshop sold out in under 24 hours, and he graciously added a second one, which is pretty cool. And the committee is then now discussing, what the best path forward for taking the curriculum work that's been in progress, especially focused on our kind of introductory courses, and how it's best to move into working through curriculum materials on advanced courses, different course models, sizes, and lengths. This is where that complementarity concept was brought up. For example, thinking through how our offerings fit into a Baltimore landscape where someone like Big is doing kind of a traditional 101 to 501 model, figuring out what makes the most sense for us. So expect to see us continue to kind of work through that within the education committee, and we'll also probably have to link that up with things like operations and programming, because those things start to intersect as we make decisions about what to do when things like shows and classes can happen in person. But again, that will move a little more slowly than some of our other operations, just again, because we're not rushing to do in-person things yet. And then on the last kind of active committee, as I mentioned, there are two more new committees that haven't met yet around development, space, and facilities. But anti-racism, anti-oppression committee has really been focused mostly on the two workshops we have with Hollaback. We had the first one about a little over a week ago, which drew over 30 instructors from across the country and the world to meet with a trainer from Hollaback to talk through implicit bias. Specifically to improv instruction. And we are now setting up follow-up meetings between now and August with small groups from that cohort to do some direct work looking at improv exercises and warm-ups and how they can be used to both teach about implicit bias and how they can be adjusted to avoid or mitigate implicit bias when teaching improv. Really excited about that. The response we got from across the world was really exciting to see. And then we have a similar session coming up next month, also with Hollaback on bystander intervention. That's still open for registration. Something that we've kind of more marketed to the Baltimore community in anticipation of the need for that support in person, but it's also open again to anybody worldwide who's interested in attending. And then working through collaboration with other committees. This has been fairly dormant as we focus on these workshops, but the need to set up instructor surveys for education when that comes live, putting together some guidelines for the spaces that we want to use when we have in-person activities, and then potentially looking at some direct donation models related to our support of the improv community. Things that exist in some places already, like the 100 Black Improvisers Scholarship process through Black Improv Alliance, but other programs that exist out there as well. Some quick details on the April 2021 finances. Similar in most ways to last month, small net income. Workshops down a little bit just from booking fewer in May than we did in April than we did in March. Donations kind of steadily climbing upward, which is great to see, as is interest in a very significant way. And then on the expenses side, there's obviously a one-time expense here of $600 for the 501c3 application. That's a bit unusual. And that leads to us kind of being where we are. Again, nothing too groundbreaking here, just staying in the habit of reporting these changes month to month. And then the marketing numbers all kind of continuing to grow and move to the right in a good way. Again, kind of the partnership through March Madness brought a lot of new people to Facebook and Instagram, which is nice. Continue to see people watch YouTube shows, which is great. Subscriptions go up, workshops go up. That unique YouTube viewers I mentioned last time is a rolling 90 days. So that leveling off is not surprising. We still obviously want it to grow, but it's not something that's going to be truly cumulative like the rest of the metrics are here.
12 more subscriptions to 400. Let's get
Yeah,
it.
that's right. And I think that is it. Yeah. So lot to talk about this month. Really excited to see some of the progress. And thanks everyone for coming. And we'll open it up for questions if anybody has them, either in the chat or you can unmute and ask them verbally. And as always, we'll send around a link to the recording and the slides if people want to reference them later.
I have one. What do you guys, what are you thinking about having an actual brick and mortar space, like off in the distance, trying to begin the process? Like, where are you with all that stuff?
I would say, we have just decided that we need a committee to start looking into it. That committee hasn't even met yet. My expectation is that it is, in terms of Highwire actually renting its own space exclusively, that's quite off in the distance. In terms of Highwire doing in-person shows at other places that we rent on a per night basis or similar, that could be significantly closer. But it's something we want to look at, more closely. There's a lot of things to consider with money and COVID in particular.
So at the outset, it could be more like you're looking for booking rather than. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Unless you got a sugar daddy out there, Misty, an improv sugar daddy,
I mean, if I had a sugar daddy, I don't know where I'd be, but it wouldn't be right here.
I knew I was setting you up right there. No, but yeah, that's definitely one of the big questions, and there's so many hurdles and things of that nature to it. So probably be relying on kindness of strangers and also some good, booking people and folks who are willing to do that legwork until something concrete can happen.
I have another question then about that. So if you were going to throw like a group out there, how would you go about doing that? Would you like ask the people who are producing each show to kind of like find their venue, or would the Highwire as a whole kind of like seek things out? Like, do you want to put a thing on the thing about doing house parties or something like that, like as a way of like fundraising and stuff for the group?
It's definitely an interesting idea, especially the fundraising part. To be honest, it's not something we've had really many direct conversation about yet. And that's kind of the point of pulling that committee together. In the first season, we had a team who all lived together, right? And they were able to do shows from one house. And that's been the model thus far, basically, is Highwire's providing the infrastructure to produce online shows for everybody. If you want to go out there and set a camera up in Patterson Park and do your show that way, that's great. Go for it. In the future, I think that committee would look at whether we had the means and the expertise to set that up on behalf of some folks. And if we did, then that would intersect with the kind of programming and artistic council to determine, how many teams could we support in that way and how would we select those teams.
Yeah, I think when like in-person stuff starts to happen, it's going to be a learning process because do you find the venue first and then book teams, or you just see who's available certain weekends, then find a venue? And I think we're just gonna have to find that balance at some point through the committee and just talking to people. I mean, it was funny. One of the New York teams from Socially Distanced, Sonny and Mike, were they did their show recently last week, and we were chatting after the stream ended, and Sonny said, hey, when you're doing stuff down there, we might come down and do something. I'm like, we're trying to figure out how to have like our local teams get shows. We love having people from out of town come, but let's not complicate things right yet. Let's walk before we can run.
Yeah.
But I think there are going to be ways we have a resourceful group and we'll figure it out. And any ideas? I think if you want, you from your music background, if you want to be part of that committee and throw around ideas and let's figure out some ways to do it. Yeah, that'd be great.
Awesome. Thanks, Misty.
Going once.
Yeah, I'm spying on the mute symbols, and I don't see any unmuting.
Okay.
Cool. And as
love
always,
see-
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. I said I love seeing all these folks here, and I was
Yeah.
just gonna say the same thing. You can always email us,
Yeah.
give us a shout somehow. You know, and just, you know, happy to do it that way too.
Wonderful. Thanks everyone for being here, and look forward to the merch link after the Zoom ends.
It's already on Facebook.
Nice.
So yeah. And
Excellent.
check out the shows tonight. I forget who's at 7.
Space Train and I know Jeff has it.
Forget. Jeff's. Yeah, Jeff's.
It is David Bowie,
Yeah.
Eileen's first appearance with David Bowie,
Oh,
and then
Ooh.
Letters to Chicken, also
Nice.
with Eileen, and then Space Train, also featuring Eileen. It's a night of Eileen.
Nice.
So stay
Can't
tuned.
go wrong with that.
Right. Excellent. Thanks everyone.
Thanks.
Talk soon.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Yeah, Misty, definitely we'll touch.
Thank
Great.
you.
Thank y'all.